tonight. A new book is shedding light on the doctors who treated hemophiliac patients in the 1980s and then infused them with AIDS, like Kokomo's Ryan White. News Channel 18's Ava Wilhite speaks about the book with the author of Dr. Guilt in tonight's top story.
He was called the face of AIDS in the mid-1980s. Kokomo native Ryan White.
All he ever really wanted was just to be like everybody else. He didn't want to be treated any differently. He didn't want to be anything other than just like another.
Attorney Charlie V. Vaughn met White at the age of 13. Vaughn says White was diagnosed a hemophiliac days after birth and already lived a life complicated with health problems. Then in December of 1984, White was diagnosed with AIDS at the young age of 12.
To make the factor, you had to have blood donors from all kinds of blood banks, and they would take the coagulant factor and put it into this medicine and give it to hemophiliacs so that they could take this and be fine. And what happened was some of that wasn't screened properly.
Vaughn and his father represented White in a landmark case that allowed the teenager to attend school in Howard County.
He was the bravest and most courageous child I think I've ever encountered. He knew what he was facing. He knew the obstacles. He knew everything about it as well as anyone.
Vaughn says it was through no fault of White's own that he was born a hemophiliac. Dr. Everett Levrian says he did not treat Ryan White, but he still feels the guilt of treating hemophiliacs in the 1980s and unknowingly infusing them with AIDS.
The patients that I cared for to relieve their pain from suffering in hemophilia with this new magic medicine ended up, instead of prolonging their life, they died instead at my hand.
Levrian was at a clinic where 90 of his hemophiliac patients died of AIDS. Those patients and White were infused with tainted medication. Dr. Sott was going to make them live a normal life.
I was very confused what was happening. We didn't know what it was. The doctors at the different hemophilia treatment centers throughout the United States talked to each other, and we recognized that there was a problem and suspected that there was a contaminant.
Levrian is venting the guilt he suggests other doctors experienced in his book, Dr. Guilt. Vaughn says White died in April of 1990 at the age of 18 from complications from AIDS. He says White would not have wanted anyone to blame themselves for what happened to him.
He never complained once. It goes to the spirit and strength of that boy.
Ava Wilhite, News Channel 18.